What is up, App Nation? It is Steve P. Young coming to you with my Zach Morris hairstyle. And today I want to talk about Musical.ly and the 3 things that you must know before you run a Musical.ly campaign. These are some of the questions that I've been getting from the audience about Musical.ly because I believe if you're not familiar with Musical.ly, it is the #1 platform to drive app downloads cost effectively. There's no other platform that can drive. There's other campaigns that I have that can drive lower cost downloads, but if you're looking to really use acquisition and influencer marketing, I believe it is the #1 platform right now. If you are targeting this particular age group, 13 to let's say 22 is probably the sweet spot for Musical.ly. And for games, I believe it is a really, really great platform to drive game downloads for Musical.ly. We've done it for big apps and we've done anywhere for 29 cents cost per download. And I want to run different campaigns at the same time. I'm going to share one of those 3 things later on, but to really maximize your spend on Musical.ly. So let's get started and let's go to the slideshow. All right, #1 thing that you must know is you got to be #1 for your app name. I know, seems obvious, but if your app name is something very popular, then you got to make sure you're #1 before you run the Musical.ly campaign. Because this was a mishap that actually happened recently. On Musical.ly, this is one of the influencers that we work with. They're going to mention the app name, they're going to show a screenshot of the app, and they're going to tell you to go search for it. There's no way to link to it in the App Store. I mean, you could put like, appmasters.co/app if you wanted to do that, but it's probably easier to just say go search for the app name in the App Store. And you want that to happen because eventually you want enough people searching for the app name that you become a trending search in the App Store, which will even lead to more organic downloads. But that's why you have to be #1. So we had a client recently who was #3 for his app name. It was a made-up app name, and unfortunately he was ranking #3 for it. And so we ran a search boost campaign on Saturday. The Musical.ly campaign was supposed to go out Thursday, so I want to get really early. So I ran a search boost campaign. I got him to be #1. Unfortunately, my miscalculation was that I thought because it's a made-up app name that he would stay #1, and I wanted to start early for it to give us enough time. I didn't want to like run it on Wednesday and not be #1. So I said, okay, let's run it on Saturday. Got him to #1, and then eventually fell to #3, back down to #3. So very unfortunate, but we were running the campaign regardless because we already set it up. So that's one of the things you should know too, is you have to tell these influencers a few days before you run the campaign. Okay? But here's what happened. So that's the bad news. The good news is he still got a good amount of downloads from being ranked #3. So here's what happened with the #1 app. This was, let's say for the app name, when you search for it, this was the #1 search result that showed up. And he did really well. So as you can see, the Musical.ly campaign did really well, unfortunately for the wrong app, but it did really well in terms of driving downloads. This app wasn't ranking at all. And then on the day we ran the campaign, March 9th, he saw a tremendous boost in rankings, which only means that he got a boost in downloads as well. Now, this is our client that we ran this for. Same day, again, as you can see, he wasn't ranking at all for under games because he wasn't driving enough downloads. But the day we ran the Musical.ly campaign, he started to rank. So even as the #3 search result, we're still able to drive downloads. Obviously not as much as we wanted if he was #1. That was our fault and we're still making up for him. But actually it wasn't all fault, but a little bit our fault that I miscalculated the days that we would rank well for #1. But anyways, he still got the downloads that he wanted, right? And that's what the power of Musical.ly is. Even if you're #3, you're still getting some downloads for that campaign. Now, the #2 thing that you got to know is you got to spend a little bit. A lot of times you're probably spending $1,000 or $2,000 on building the app if it's a casual game, and if that's all you have, then you're just blowing all your budget away on just building it, which we should know now that just building it is no longer enough to make it in the app space. So I would say The people who have asked me, hey, Steve, I ran a Musical.ly campaign, didn't do much. You're probably not spending enough, because with 2,000 budget, you're able to work with many influencers. And that's the key. A lot of times when people do ask me, hey, it didn't work, it's because they work with one influencer and probably spend about $500 to $600 on that one influencer. But with influencer marketing, you have to work with a small pool of influencers so that you can dominate the feed and see it from everywhere. You know, what happens when you see 2 or 3 different influencers talking about the same app? You're more likely to download it, right? Maybe you like your influencer, you see it once, you're like, oh, that sounds cool, let me go get it. But if you see 2 or 3 people talking about it on the same day, you're more likely to download the app. And that's why I say you probably need at least a $2,000 spend to really maximize the Musical.ly effort. And when we have a $2,000 spend, and this is why, again, I believe Musical.ly is the most underpriced platform out there, we're able to get a 9 million follower reach. Now, I actually asked somebody with an 8 million follower reach how much it would cost to run an app promotion through her, and she said 3,000. And I'm able to get a bigger follower reach with 2,000. So that's the key. And you want many people sharing the app at once, okay? So number 3, stack the campaigns, right? I'm a big proponent of this. If you watch some of my old videos, I show you how you double stack up your Apple feature. We had a client feature by Apple, and we ran a few campaigns to stack the campaigns. And that's what you have to do. So if you're running a Musical.ly campaign, I would say run a pay to free campaign. So for one of our clients, and I'm going to share a case study with you guys a little bit later, but one of our clients, we're running day 1, a TrendPie campaign. Day 2, a pay to free campaign. And towards the weekend, we're running a Musical.ly campaign, because I know Musical.ly tends to trend up during the weekend. So I want to save that for the weekend. So we're stacking all of it so that we can stay in the ranks. And here's what happened to our clients, right? This is the client that we had where he was number 3 for the app name, bringing this up again, because as you can see, when he's going up, that's when we're running the pay to free campaign. So as you can see, like Musical.ly is going to get you in the ranks, but if you run a different campaign, like pay to free campaign, or maybe even a TrendPie campaign, you're really able to maintain that rank longer. And then, you know, the dip is going to happen, but you're able to maintain that rank a little bit longer. So if you got more money, I'm talking to the bigger companies out there, if you got more money to spend, just think what you can do when you stack these campaigns, when you're running a Musical.ly campaign and then a pay to free campaign, and then maybe you got more money for a Musical.ly campaign and you're just dominating the whole weekend. That's what really happens when you have a bigger budget. Now we're running with a 2,000. When we have a bigger budget, I know there's a lot more that we can do to really maximize that budget. That's it. Those are the 3 things. So let me recap. Let me see if there's anything else after this. Let me go back. Number 1, be number 1 for your app name. Number 2, have a $2,000 spend at least. And lastly, number 3, if you want to get ninja with this, stack the campaigns. Run a pay to free campaign at the same time, run a TrendPie campaign at the same time, or the day following days, so that you can maintain your rank and really maximize the exposure, right? The advertising, there's an adage, I think it's the right word. In the advertising space, you have to see a brand 7 times to really get familiar with it. So if you are able to really maximize all the different channels that you have at your disposal, then you can drive some tremendous downloads and stay in the App Store ranks. All right, that's it. I'll see you next time. Oh, if you're watching this video on YouTube, hit subscribe, like the video, leave a comment. I'm in the comments all the stinking time. Leave a comment. And if you got any questions, feel free to reach out to me anytime and let me know. I create a lot of these videos based on the questions I'm getting from my audience. That's it for Musical.ly. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time. Zach Morris.